Each week, mental health host experts Sharon Jackson and Tara Evans share their wisdom on how to help men afflicted with female abuse. The mission is to support men who have suffered interpersonal abuse and assault of domestic violence. More than 830,000 men fall victim to domestic violence every year, which means every 37.8 seconds, somewhere in America, a man is battered. Tara and Sharon tell the untold stories of abused men to bring awareness to the changes that need to take place so that men of all ages can receive the support and services they need to reach their potential for a healthy and meaningful life. Tara and Sharon help guide you on your way to improve outcomes for this underserved population. Okay, audience, here is Men 911 with Sharon Jackson and Tara Evans.
Hello, audience. Today, Tara and I welcome our guest, Ben Williams, who survived being in a relationship with a narcissist. Audience, will you please welcome Ben Williams to the Men's 911 show?
Welcome, Ben. How are you today?
Thank you, folks. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you. I'd like to thank your audience for having me and everyone that's listening. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, today, we're on the Men's 911 show. We talk about issues that men experience or have. And today we're going to talk about being in a relationship with a narcissist. And so we know that firsthand that you were in a relationship with a narcissist that really, took you to a place that you didn't think that you would ever recover from. So today we're going to discuss that. But first, I want you to just let the audience know about Ben. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sure. My name is Ben Williams. Grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. Started out in North City. We moved to South City in '84. I'm still in South City. I work as a heavy equipment operator or engineer in construction. I also drive over the road. Actually, I wear many hats. I also work and do security at local clubs here in the city of St. Louis. I've been doing that over 20 years. And I have two boys of my own that I'm excited about teaching them the ropes of life. And that's pretty much it. I'm an avid camper. I enjoy the outdoors. Easygoing guy, laid back. That's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Good.
Well, you know what, Ben? You're really being modest today, right? About your whole security thing. Tell the people about who you've done security for.
Oh, my goodness. When it comes to entertainers, if you can name an entertainer, I've done security, private security for multiple entertainers, locally here at all the clubs. Again, I've been doing it for 20 plus years. So if you can name a club or a club promoter, I've probably done security for those individuals. So I'm well versed in private security also.
So you really going to make me put you on the spot, right? Who have you really done security for?
I mean, outside of our current president, Joe Biden.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
I did detail with Joe Biden, his family, his niece and nephew, Cuff and Casey Biden, where we had to basically escort the dignitaries to WashU and pretty much around town to their hotels, back and forth, things of that nature, which was quite the experience. I never thought I would have that opportunity to actually have Secret Service clearance, but that's exactly what we had. So yeah, that was quite an ordeal there. One of the highlights of my security career. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So you were in this relationship with this narcissist. So I want you to tell us how you met her.
We actually met at the grocery store. And I was looking to cook up a certain type of fish, and I saw someone that I thought was attractive. So I made an approach. We exchanged numbers, and that's pretty much how we met in the beginning. But if you guys don't mind, if we can take just for a second, I'd like to quote a scripture out of Proverbs 6, and hopefully this can reach any man that is in earshot of this broadcast. Proverbs chapter 6, verses 23 through 28. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and the reproofs of instruction are the ways of life. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by the means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes and not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? And I just wanted to quote that scripture because I want everyone, again, that's within earshot of listening, every man to know that I take full accountability for everything that happened to me dealing with the narcissist that I was with. I take full accountability because I was led away by my own lust. I take full accountability.
Amen.
Yeah.
We thank you for that scripture.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So, were there any warning signs in the beginning of the relationship that you may have ignored?
Oh, Tara, there were absolutely warning signs. I would say one thing that a lot of guys that may be listening right now, and you may be in this situation with your narcissist, there's a gut feeling inside of you that is literally screaming, telling you that something isn't right. You cannot put your finger on it. You have no idea what it is. Everything may seem absolutely perfect, but your gut is telling you that something isn't right. Outside of that, whenever I would be in her presence, stay at her place, I always felt like I was being watched. And it was just a sort of eerie, uncomfortable feeling, but you just always had this feeling that you're being watched. But I would have to say the biggest warning sign that I got came from actually at that time, her son, who was 5 years old. And I'll never forget what this child said to me, even though I brushed him off because he was a kid, no more than 5. But this was his understanding. He told me, Ben, as soon as you figure out what a dirty little dinosaur my mom is, you're going to leave her too. And that was from the mouth of a 5-year-old.
Mm,
Right. Mhm.
my goodness.
That tells
Yeah,
you too,
it
Ben.
was-
When you say that you felt like you were being watched, I think that really what these women do, we call data mining, and they really are watching you. Your every move, they know you better than you do. You can change from a bad day to a good day. She's always on top of you, trying to figure out you and watching. So that you said that was really interesting, really insightful, because they really are watching.
Absolutely,
You know.
Absolutely, Sharon. And what I found out now that this is years later, through her watching me and that feeling of her watching me, what I found out is that that's what a narcissist will do. They literally will study your every move.
Yes.
And it's all to eventually be used against you during the devaluation stage.
Yes. Yes. And she's also looking for your vulnerabilities. Because we all have vulnerabilities. So they're very good at looking at what's his weaknesses, so she can use those against you. And if your affect changes, if she sees a change in your affect, she's going to be on top of it. I mean, that's how they gain control. And so men, they're vulnerable. They let down their shield. They tell the woman everything, and then they're trapped, basically.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, Sharon, that one of the main things that she used as a form of manipulation, which, again, a lot of guys are naturally inclined to do, is to come to the aid of the famed damsel in distress.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was so she was able to lay under the radar with me because she was very skilled with playing the damsel in distress, and that would play to any man's natural inkling to see after a woman, to protect, to provide, and things of that nature. And that's really the scary part about a female narcissist. I believe I was dealing with a covert female narcissist. So she really laid below the radar. She was loved by everyone, good with children, you name it. She was just like the ideal person where just everyone loved her. So for me to have gone back at any point and mentioned the monster that she actually was, there's no way anyone would have believed me. There's no way. But that's what they work on. They work on the mask, as they call it. It's all mask. It's all an act. It's all a disguise. None of it is real. She basically became someone that she wasn't. And that's what they do over the years. They take different little attributes from different people and they put it all together to make up this image of who they are, but that's totally not who they are.
Right.
And Ben, how long were you in the relationship with?
Oh my goodness, this went on about 10 plus years, and I can tell you, trauma bonds are a real thing. Those are a real thing. The multiple manipulations that a female narcissist will use or that she has in her arsenal are just, there's no number for them. The manipulation is all day, constantly, and you have no idea that she's even doing it. You have no idea. No idea.
Right. We've talked about the trauma bonds and the her playing the victim. It's all a game. So men have a natural inclination to provide and protect men. That's just naturally what they want to do for women and the people that they love. And these women will use that natural inclination of a man to want to provide and protect to play a victim. And she'll be a victim of, she'll make herself a victim of people around her, or particularly people in that man's life that love that man. So that man ends up defending her against people that love him. So think about that.
Absolutely.
So if the man ends up throwing, his own children, his own family, his own friends, people that came before him who he loves and has a relationship with, she will ultimately end up making herself a victim of those people so she can isolate the man, and the man will go against those people to defend her. And it's done with the mask that you say, that men don't even know that this is happening. So I tell men, if there are people who are no longer in your life who were once in your life, that's a really good indication that you have, a covert narcissistic female.
Absolutely.
That you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Because what happens, Sharon, is once you become isolated, and they're very clever at weeding out anyone that they would feel would be competition to them, or that they feel like you would give or provide more attention to, and they don't care who it is. It can be your kids. It can be your children. You can have a newborn child that's barely 6 months old. If she feels that child is getting more attention, she will do everything in her power to get that child out of your life, whatever it takes.
Yes.
Whatever it takes. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a tragedy of it, Ben, is that men don't even realize this is happening to them, right?
Sure, absolutely. But I'll tell you another side of that coin also, Sharon, and that is a female narcissist will also use triangulation against you. And triangulation is basically meaning she will put things at odds with you. Let's say you have a cousin that visits all the time. A form of manipulation, that triangulation, she'll make little small comments in favor of your cousin, just to kind of throw you off and have you wondering and guessing, like, is it a potential case where she would fool around with my cousin or anything like that? So a lot of guys, again, that are listening, if she's asking you constantly to meet your family, that's for a reason. Because they want to meet your family. They want to meet people that are closest to you, because the horror of what they're planning is just that. It's a horror story. And she will turn all of your family against you, all of your friends against you, and will even be intimate with those same very people. It's really diabolical. It really is.
Oh, I know. I have an example of one man who was very close with his brother, and she said to the man, well, your brother drinks too much. We want to have a family here. We don't want that, your brother around. He drinks so much. And so then the man defends his brother. Well, we're just having a good time. And so the next time at a family outing, the brother drinks, have a good time, which was typical for that family, their relationship. And she'll bring up again, see, look at your brother. He drank too much. We don't want that. I mean, look at him. And then he starts thinking, wow, yeah, maybe my brother does drink too much. And so sooner or later, she's building up a story that, and she'll take one little bit of truth, and then the man's like, oh, well, I guess that's true. And sooner or later, the brother's out of the man's life. I mean,
absolutely.
You have to stay on top of it. You have to, anytime someone tells you something negative, these women tell you something negative about somebody who's important in your life, you need to stop and think, why is she saying that? And what is her motive?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another important thing is for guys to remember that if you feel like you're dealing with a female narcissist, you have to remember that the person that she's presenting to you, especially in the beginning, it is a mask. A lot of times she'll even present you to yourself. And what I mean by that is that she will take your characteristics, the good quality traits about yourself, and she will take them and absorb them into herself, and she will mimic the behavior that you mimic towards her, be it love, affirmation, affection, you name it. She will mimic that. And so what ends up happening to the guy is you feel like you're falling in love with her, but you're actually falling in love with yourself, because she's mimicking all your character traits, everything about you, everything good about you. But you have to remember also that even though she's mimicking all those traits, that you are literally dealing with a mortal enemy, because she hates you.
Yes.
They actually hate you.
Isn't that, yes. Right?
Because she can never be who you are. The good things about yourself, the good things that people love about you,
Mm-hmm.
she could never be that. Has she not worn the mask that she wears every day, she would not get the love and attention that she gets. She understands that it's all a mask. It's all a game. But once that mask falls, oh my goodness, be prepared. Be prepared.
Right.
So Ben, when and how did you know you were in trouble?
I would have to say I knew that I was in trouble when I asked myself one day, I said, Ben, what's wrong? What is wrong with you? What are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? And the feeling was just of hopelessness. The feeling was of uncertainty. The feeling was being indecisive. And I couldn't understand what happened to me. And I just had to ask myself, what is wrong with you? Now, keep in mind, nothing around me physically is wrong. I'm working. I have a roof over my head. There's nothing wrong per se in my life for me to be feeling this way. And it just hit me that it's her. It was her. And what I mean by it is that what a lot of men don't understand is that a female narcissist will drain you. And they drain you on purpose. She will consume your... I know it's somebody listening to me right now, and they are identifying with everything I'm saying. And I want to say to that guy, you're not wrong. You're not crazy. You're on the right track. And it's no coincidence that you're listening to this show right now. And hopefully this is part of your deliverance, because you have to get away. But back to what I was saying. A narcissist will drain you on purpose. She will take up all of your time. If you think you have free time, not with the narcissist. And all those phone calls, calling you every day, all throughout the day, trying to give you the illusion you can feel assured that she's not doing anything and that you have her undivided attention. That's all by design. That's all part of the manipulation. That's all part of the manipulation. But they will drain you to the point where mentally you just aren't yourself anymore. You become a shell of the man that you once were. All of those things that you were involved in, your hobbies, whatever they may have been, all of those things go by the wayside because you become consumed with pleasing her and seeing after her. It literally drains the life force out of you to the point where you even start suffering from cognitive dissonance. I mean, it's really diabolical, and it's only by the grace of God that I'm out of the situation. God literally had to pick me up by my collar and pull me from the gates of hell. I promise you that. And a lot of men don't make it out. A lot of men lose lives. A lot of men lose their minds behind dealing with a female narcissist. It's extremely serious. It's nothing to play with. I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah. What was there? There are so many men too. It's really a type of brainwashing too. It's a real brainwashing. We call undue influence. When I say that, people always look at me like I got three eyes. You know, what's brainwashing about something movie? But it really is. It takes over your mind, and you just hope. And you can't reach some of these men either because they're so embedded in her belief system and her sense. When Tara said it, what was? I always look for that like awakening, that like moment of clarity. What did it just come over you, or did something happen, or how did you wake up, basically?
Well, I'll tell you, if we're honest, it actually started in my dreams. It really did. It really started in my dreams. I had several dreams where it was obvious now, especially if you're a believer, you understand, where God was warning me. I had several dreams where God was just warning me and showing me things where it was like, it's plain, cut and simple. You can't misunderstand any of this. This is what you're dealing with. But I would have to say that moment of clarity where I actually woke up was just driving over the road, and I had my headset on, and I came across a YouTube video, and I believe it was Dr. Ramani.
Oh yeah, Ramani. Yeah, she's very good.
Yeah, she's awesome. She is awesome. And she was covering the covert female narcissist. And I had 4-hour drive ahead of me, so I just listened. And everything that she was saying was resonating with me in my spirit. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I just said at that moment, I said, that's what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm dealing with. And from there on, when I tell you I've consumed so many hours on videos and material regarding the covert female narcissist, the different capitas of narcissism. I mean, hours upon hours and hours. But right now, for me, it's actually it's somewhat fascinating. I know that may sound a little weird, but it is fascinating that someone could just come in and railroad you, mentally in such a form, just so unassumingly. It's amazing to me.
Yes. How did it affect your family? How did it affect family and friends?
Well, Sharon, I can tell you one thing about my gut instinct when it was screaming at me, and I didn't go past it, was that I did not want her to meet any of my family or my friends. I just never allowed it to happen. And it was just my gut telling me, no, she doesn't need to meet any of your family or friends. And I never did. So so far as my family and friends, it really didn't. Our relationship didn't have too much of an impact. She wasn't quite able to separate me from all my family and friends. I still had that going for myself. That was one of the boundaries that I had for myself that I maintained. And speaking of boundaries, that's another thing that helped me to understand the experience with dealing with a female covert narcissist, was that I had very weak boundaries. And I believe part of that came from my childhood, because we grew up on the rough side. We were very poor growing up, but we had everything, if that makes any sense. But
Sure.
I was always the mediator in the family. I was always the one that everyone called, even the older siblings. If something was going on, everyone depended on me. So I believe that goes back to my childhood. So I had a problem with telling my family no, because I love my family, and I always wanted everyone else to be, if something was going on, I wanted them to be better. I needed to make it right. I needed to fix it. And these are all things that are natural to a man. But if you come across a female narcissist and she can observe, because they observe a lot and sit back and watch, and she see that you are that type of guy, you're probably in trouble.
Right.
Hey, Ben, we're going to take a short break right now, but we'll be right back within, 5 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Ben.
If you're looking for a new, informative health and lifestyle show to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully, then you need to listen to Sage Advice with Melissa. Now, whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from industry experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. Melissa's mission: to guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness, and to give you a voice to help improve your life. So be sure to tune in to Melissa on KWRH 92.9 FM every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our number one priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland.
In today's economy, there are more people looking to buy and sell businesses than ever before. When a company owner needs to sell their business, they can't just stick a for sale sign in the window. They need the assistance of a business broker to locate and vet potential buyers. On the other side, buyers rely on the broker to help facilitate the process of evaluating potential businesses and franchises for sale. A Transworld Business Advisor is the solution for both scenarios. Transworld Business Advisors focus on 3 core concepts: business brokerage, franchise consulting, and franchise development. Transworld has specialized in the sale of business and commercial real estate. Today, Transworld Business Advisors is a global network of brokers offering a turnkey solution for those that want to build a solid business and future for themselves while maintaining a balanced quality of life. With our comprehensive training program, full marketing support, and local field support, you won't have to start from scratch. Our trained experts and members will help you every step of the way. Transworld Business Advisors has 40 plus years of experience, 10,000 plus businesses sold, and 600 plus brokers, 250 offices worldwide. For a free initial consultation, call Charlie Scarlett, business broker, or Billy Rowland, business broker, at 636-400-6100. Again, that's Charlie Scarlett, business broker, or Billy Rowland, business broker, at 636-400-6100.
Welcome back, audience. You are listening to the Men's 911 Show. In today's society, approximately 1 in 8 men will experience domestic violence in the form of psychological trauma, physical violence, and or stalking by a female partner. The mission of the Men's 911 Show is to bring awareness and education and provide resources and tools to support men so they can experience healthy lifestyles and nurturing relationships that reinforce responsible manhood and preservation of family. If you are a victim of male domestic violence, we encourage you to contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. For more information about the Men's 911 Show, please email us at mens911show@coverthefamily.org. And to learn more about our programs or to donate, please visit our website at www.coverthefamily.org. Now back to the Men's 911 Show. We have been talking with Ben Williams. Ben, are you here?
I am.
Great. Welcome back.
Back.
We took a short break, but we had to pay some bills, so now we're back.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
during the commercial, Sharon and I were just kind of talking, and we wanted to, and I want you to, keep this clean, but we need to talk about how you were affected, how lust and sex really was the driving force for you being stuck in this, relationship.
Well, I can tell you all that intimacy was that was a main driving point. At the time, I'm a traditional guy, so I was never the type of guy that needed 5 different women all around town or whatever. So she was the only person that I was intimate with. And so that was one of the things that she would use to get back in my good graces, if you will. Or she would act like that was something that she was in dire need of to draw me back in. And what I want guys to understand that are listening is that intimacy with a woman is so much more than just a physical thing. And I get that now. I really do. I really, really, really get that. And at the time, I just was unaware. But when you're intimate with a woman, it's more than just physical. You're literally sharing a part of your soul and your spirit with this person. And that's by design. That's the way God meant for it to be. But in the confines of a marriage, of being married, because that's what's going to help bind you and bond you to your partner in marriage. So that's natural. But where we get in trouble is when we're outside of the borders God gave us to operate in. And so we open ourselves up to a lot of things. And right now, I can tell you honestly, there's no way, if there is even remotely a woman that I'm interested in, I would place her before God so fast. I would not lean out on my own understanding, thinking I know what I'm doing, even at 46 years old, because you have no idea who you're tying up with. You have no idea the history of the person that you're being intimate with. You have no idea what they're into, what they're doing. You have no idea. I don't care how sharp of a pencil you think you are. I don't care if you've been in the streets and you think you know a woman front to back. There's no way that you can know. And the key thing about all of that is no one can ever know a person's heart. The only person that knows a person's heart and their intent is God. So I would caution any man that if you have someone that you're interested in, please, please, please put that woman before God, because the wrong woman can literally cost you your life.
That's true. That's very true. We're going to talk about too the characteristics, your characteristics, Ben. That because most times what I see is that men who are compassionate, empathic, just kind of natural caregivers are targets of these women. That's those characteristics that they go after.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you just basically summed up my characteristics. Again, just a traditional guy, work hard every day. Definitely believe in the slogan, hard days work for hard days work for honest days pay. Compassionate, love their families, very protective of their families, extremely outgoing, dutiful, meaning it's not about how I feel about a certain situation, but what is my duty and my position in the family and what I'm supposed to do. You know, so all those traditional things, which are good things, excellent qualities about a man. But in the eyes of a female narcissist, you are literally like a buffet for her. You are literally like a buffet, because she is going to play the damsel in distress role for you to activate all of those traits in you. I mean, everything in you is going to be activated, everything. And she's going to exude her sexuality with you and be the most whatever you need her to be, but it's all a mask. It's all a trap.
Right.
It's all a trap.
So, Ben, how did you finally break free? And does she still try to contact you? You know I'm laughing, right?
Don't talk her up. It's been 2 years. She's been doing good. So, but yeah. So the way I finally broke away from her, and I'm just going to be honest, but keep it clean. Mm-hmm. It took the power of God to break that soul tie that I had with her, because I definitely suffered with ruminating about her all the time. And it was just hard to pull away, but it just took time, and it took God to do that. And I can tell, and it's, again, being honest, the last thing that I had to do, and this was within as 6 months ago, if that, all those little spicy pictures or whatever, to the guys out there listening, that you may have in your phone that you just keep around, you have to get rid of all that stuff, because even though you're keeping it, it's really you holding on. All those things, anything about that woman, you have to get rid of, whatever it may be. You have to get rid of it, because that's going to help. That's going to help in you moving on. You know, but I promise you, once you make it through it, you'll be so much sharper. You'll be so much more decisive. I mean, that you'd be able to spot a narcissist from 20 miles away. I promise you, you will be. You'll be that much more sensitive and cautious, which is what we should be anyway. You should be cautious anyway with who you tie up with. But this experience has made me so much more cautious of that.
Yeah, that's good. Can you give us some examples of some of her behaviors, Ben, that other men might relate to?
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Very secretive. Oh, my goodness. Extremely secretive. And it may not be on the surface, but you'll just sense something about her that's secretive, especially with her family. Especially with her family. She will be a closed door when it comes to her family. She'll be very secretive with that. Everything in her home, like, for example, with my narcissist, whenever I would get up, just say to go use the restroom or something, I could tell if I took too long to come back to the room, she was up immediately trying to see what I was doing.
Yeah.
And obviously I wasn't doing anything, but they're so paranoid. They don't want you to find out who they are. That's what it is. They don't want you to find out who they are. A narcissist fears being exposed, because that demon hides in the shadows. And the moment you realize where it is and what it is, and you call it out, the gag is up. The mask has fallen. What else? Intimacy-wise, everything will seem robotic. You will feel it won't be any genuine passion or anything like that. Everything with this person will feel robotic. You'll just feel like there's something missing. It'll feel weird to you, and you can't figure it out because you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with. When it comes to social media, this is another one, big one, fellas. Social media. If she's got from Snapchat to Facebook, Instagram, you have no idea all the other little sneaky apps that she has on her phone. Oh, they're really good. They're really good. It would blow your mind if you knew what she was really doing. It would almost destroy you. It would tear your heart out. I promise you. And that's why it's so important for you to get out. There is also a lack of empathy. You'll notice that this woman, I'll give you an example. Her nephew was killed maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and the whole family was mourning. But I noticed with her that there was no real mourning. And I was like, there's no tears. There are no tears. There's no sadness. It's just kind of like, what's going on? And it'll feel weird to you, and you'll be like, this is weird. Pay attention to that stuff. Pay attention to those things. That's important because they lack empathy. There are no real tears. All those things are gone. You're dealing with something else. The person that you think you have, that's not who she is. And until the mask fall, you'll see the horror behind the mask of who you're really dealing with, because it's a real horror story. Prepare yourself and pray that God have you to snatch you like he snatched me from the gates of hell. It's that bad.
Right.
It's that bad.
And Ben, can you talk about, I know she used her children sometimes to make you stay.
Oh, absolutely. The children, if there are younger children in the home, absolutely, they're going to use those children because, again, you have to remember she's playing the damsel in distress, and that includes her children. So whatever those kids need, or she figure, if you're a provider and a protector and your natural instincts as a man, she's going to use those children because of course, children need things all day, every day. So that's one way that they'll lure you back in. Well, the kids need this. I need to take them there. And you'll get all of those type of conversations. So, yeah, they will definitely use the children. Let one of the children have an issue at school. Oh, well, the kids are having an issue. Can you go to the school? And she'll conveniently be at the school, too. Everything is to keep their claws in your back.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're good fuel. Fuel meaning a good source. They use it in the psychology with narcissism. But if you're really good fuel, they have to keep you around because they feed off of you. Mm-hmm. You're what she's feeding off of every day. She has to keep you around. So she'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. Whatever your weakness is, she's going to play to that 100%. And before you know it, you'll be in 10 plus years like I was. And you can't figure out where did the time go and how did I stay in this long. That's how.
You know too, Ben, that this behavior really is abusive behavior. However, it's really not any laws against it, right? Which I find so surprising. Why do you think that our legal system, how are we falling short of this? Because so many men are in these relationships, they can't get out, and the legal system really doesn't even acknowledge these behaviors of these women.
Well, Sharon, I can tell you every day I get up, no matter what time of day it is, when I watch television, if I listen to the radio, I can't tell you what the agenda is, but it's obvious there's an agenda against masculinity, period, in this country.
Mm-hmm, yes.
There's an agenda against masculinity in this country, period. To me, it even goes spiritual, but I'm sure we don't have time for that. But the agenda against masculinity is real. And so the laws are not going to protect men. It's just not going to happen. And I believe the reason is that if you can destroy masculinity, you can literally destroy a whole society.
Yes.
The end, period.
Yes.
And it's that serious. Look at the news every day. Look at the horrific things that we listen to and hear about on the news every day. Who's committing those crimes? There are males that are committing those crimes. It's not women. This society promotes and educates and exhorts everything feminine and woman this and woman that. And I get it. That's okay. But where the energy and the focus needs to be is on the males. It's with the boys.
Yes.
Because those are your leaders of your families. Those are the protectors of your city. And if anyone that's listening has any debate with that, all you have to do is travel to Ukraine right now. And you out there and you see who's dying on those in that war and who's being slaughtered to defend their country. It's the men. It's the males. The males keep everything out. The males give the culture. They give the standard. They set the boundaries. If you will, Sharon, think about a male lion in Africa. You know, he may have a pride of 8 females and all the little cubs. And everyone for years would always say, well, the male doesn't do anything but just walk around. He doesn't hunt or anything. But what that male does is he walks the territory, usually at night. And he marks the territory to let anything that would come in and harm his pride or his cubs, he lets them know, hey, stop at this border. This is the boundary. You don't go any farther. If you move past this boundary, there's a serious chance that you could lose your life or you're going to be in for a heck of a fight. So that's the importance of the males and focusing on the males and pouring everything we have, resources, whatever, because nothing changes. We thousand marches. We could talk about it on the news. We could call whatever agency to come in and help. But if you don't focus on the males and get the males and work on the males, nothing's going to change.
Right. We agree. Right, Tara?
Oh, yes, 100%. And,
Yes.
you know, Ben, you know me, and you know the struggle that I'm having with the cover and actually receiving funding to support men. I mean, something as simple as classes for them to be better dads. You know, I'm getting so much opposition from, I mean, every place, every organization. So, you know, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the fight, you know, because this is my purpose that God gave me to help men, to save humanity. So I'm always going to be doing whatever it is that I can do in order to support men. And I'm just so thankful that, you know, I have you as a support.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing also, because there's no resources for men. There are none, literally no resources for men. And what men do when they get frustrated and they have no hope, we see it every day playing out on the news.
Yep.
Right.
We see it every day. And so,
Yes.
yeah, it's absolute total destruction. So from politicians to psychiatrists, whoever you want to name, if anyone has any opposition to what you guys are doing or what you stand for, tell them to turn on the 10 o'clock news every day and tell me what opposition do they have. Ask them who's committing the crimes, the murders, the carjackings, the stealing cars, whatever. What demographic is doing that? Are there all females that are doing these things? No, absolutely not. So common sense would say if we're going to pour any resources, any funding into anything, it should be to help the boys, the males. That's where the money should be going. That's where it has to go. And it's really common sense. That's not disputable. There's nothing to dispute about that. The numbers don't lie. I'll say that. The numbers don't lie.
Absolutely. So we're wrapping up, but I have a few more questions for you.
Sure,
So,
sure.
how has your dating habits changed since being in this relationship?
My dating habits.
Yes.
I have not dated. I am, and it's not out of a fear of uncertainty. It's more so out of understanding what's out here now. It's being more sharp and just having a better understanding at the potential of what you could run into out here. So it's not fear. It's just more being more cautious. Just being cautious.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent the last couple of years just really healing, working on some different projects, and just getting better to be a better dad, a better brother, and things of that nature. So I'm really not even focused on dating right now. I'm just not. I'm just really not.
So I want you to stop right there, because I think it's important for you to really talk about what you just said, because I think it's very powerful. And when we get out of these relationships, and it's men or women,
Mhm.
we should not jump back into another relationship. I feel like we need to have time to heal. But while we're healing and we're waiting, what steps as a man are you taking to make sure that you're your best self for your next relationship? Like, what are some of the things that you're done as far as business wise, personal? I know you just said, be a better father, brother, son.
Mhm.
What things are you doing to be, your best you?
Well, I can tell you to start. I've been able to work on my credit. 2 years ago, I started Block Builder Investors, a real estate investor. It's still in its infancy, but we're working on building Block Builder Investors. I've raised my credit score from really, really low to really, really high right now, and so many other opportunities have come forth just behind that. I'm also working on starting a nonprofit called what is it? I had several different names. The Lions Men nonprofit organization, biblically based nonprofit. Just a lot of different, but I really had to take the 2 years to just really get settled and get refocused and draw closer to God. That's the number one thing, because there are so many traps and perils out here for us every day, and there's so much that God keeps us from that we would be hard to see what came at us on a daily basis that God just sends the other way. But yeah, I've just been really just drawing closer to God and working on my personal skills and things of that nature.
I have a thought, Ben. If you can think about when you're in the midst of all this, what is something someone could have told you that could have opened your eyes sooner? What did you need to hear from someone, do you think?
Sharon, that's an awesome question.
We're always looking for the magical questions.
Sure. But you know what, Sharon? I'll share this with you. I would honestly have to say nothing. It was meant for me. I won't say it was meant for me, but I had to go through that fire. I had to be christened through the fire to help sharpen who I was, because there were some things about myself, like I told you earlier, I had weak boundaries. There were some things about myself that needed to be fixed. And so I know it sounds weird, but I'm glad that I went through what I went through, because I'm so much sharper now.
Yes.
I'm so much closer to God. My understanding is different. My outlook when it comes to relationships is just altogether different. I'm much more. I'm just so much sharper, Sharon. I'm really sharper, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I'm loving it. It wasn't fun going through it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm so much sharper. I'm such a better person. I really am. So yeah, I'm glad that I actually went through it. It was good for me to go through.
I agree. I agree. Hopefully, the experiences gives you an insight, inner wisdom that most
Yes.
people have. You understand things so much more deeply now than so many people. What is something that you could, an advice or something you could tell men who are going through this right now? What do they need to hear from you?
What I would tell those guys listening, if you feel like this is you and what I've had to say resonates with you, I would say above all things, trust your gut.
Yes.
If something's telling you something's wrong, trust your gut. Something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong. Do not just overlook it. Don't brush it off because it's not going to get better. It's going to get much, much, much worse. And if you feel like you're in that situation and everything that I described relates to you, get on your knees and pray to God, because you're more than likely going through a transition period where God's going to really work with you and do some things through you. And you had to have this experience to sharpen you, because remember, we're all just quivers. We're all arrows in His quiver. We're weapons for the Word of God, and that's what He wants us to be: is to spread His word. He said His word is like a two-edged sword, and so that sword is super sharp. And so that's how you have to be as a man of God. You have to be super sharp, because there are going to be all type of things coming at you throughout this life and different experiences, and you're going to have to be sure of who you are. You're going to have to be sure of your convictions to where you cannot be knocked off your square. So pray, get on your knees and pray, and ask God to deliver you from that situation.
Well,
Oh,
thank you,
Ben.
That would
Ben.
be
Thank you, Ben, so much.
We appreciate you being on our show
Really.
so much.
Yes.
Well, audience, it's that time again when we wrap up this week's show. As a reminder, our goal is to not only help male victims, but also help men find a path to save their lives and restore their identities as leaders, providers, and protectors in their families and communities. We want to thank our guest, Ben Williams, for being on the show, and a reminder that we will join you again next week at 3 p.m. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, Ben. Thank you.
Little boy